Thanks and welcome to the 6:15 with some technical hitches there. I'm Kejang Henry at 10 Let's flag off with our headlines. Incest and sexual abuse shake the community of Bangangte after a 37-year-old man is reported to have defiled his 13-year-old daughter. And in under an hour, the fate of Africa's finest football teams will be sealed in Rabat, Morocco, as the 2025 African Cup of Nations draw kicks off, setting the stage for a thrilling tournament ahead. And as the clock ticks down to the event, Ntaroke Divine will examine the prospects for Cameroon's indomitable Lions' top stories.
Canal International.
On our respective platforms for consultation, we begin from Bangangte in the north or in the west region of the country, where a horrifying case of incest and sexual abuse has shaken the town of Bangangte in the west region, where a 37-year-old man actually accused of raping his 13-year-old daughter. Of course, the man is saying that it was out to deliver the daughter of evil spirits. Sherifa Saleh takes a look on that.
A 37-year-old father in Bangangte, west region of Cameroon, has been arrested and charged with rape after allegedly assaulting his 13-year-old daughter with a machete. The incident occurred on the night of January 22, breaking 23 at their home.
Papa, s'il te plaît, détache-moi. Il dit, attends. Il dit, ne m'appelle plus papa. Appelle-moi B.
According to local sources, the suspect claimed he was trying to deliver his daughter from evil spirits. However, his actions have been widely condemned by the community.
Il est influent. Tout le quartier a peur de lui. Parce qu'il sort toujours les matériels, surtout la machette, il a une machette limée.
The victim's mother was reportedly present during the assault but did not intervene. Local sources also allege that incest is a recurring issue within the family.
Il faut que je sorte ici là, parce que maintenant on cherche la maison. Pourquoi je lui libère? Je lui moi derrière lui.
The suspect has been taken into custody and is expected to face trial. The case has sparked outrage and raised concerns about child safety and protection in the community.
Thanks very much, Sherifa Saleh. And 7 hostages held by kidnappers in the Mayoluti division of the North region of Cameroon have been freed through a successful operation by the National Gendarmerie in Guider. Of course, some of the kidnappers are known to have fled the area into the mountains, but then there is a search that is going on to harvest the rest of them. Ambo Gladys Diban comes back to that story.
In a determined effort to combat the rising wave of kidnappings for ransom, the Guider Gendarmerie Company launched a decisive operation in the village of Ndebrek, located in the Mosgoum canton. The operation resulted in the rescue of 7 hostages who had been held in inhumane conditions for several days.
In the month of January, we have seen a resurgence of kidnappings with ransom demands. So, on the instructions of the Colonel Commander of the Northern Legion, we carried out a strong ground operation which, with the collaboration of the vigilance committees and the support of the administrative authorities, allowed us to completely root the perpetrators who were engaged in these activities and to release 7 hostages who were being held in inhuman conditions.
The kidnappers fled to the mountains during the operation, prompting continued efforts by security forces to apprehend them.
I would like to once again launch a strong appeal to all the populations to continue to inform us when they are faced with such individuals, whether they are strangers or even relatives, to allow us to actively fight against this phenomenon, which in reality harms the entire population, and to specify that the National Gendarmerie continues to remain at their side to guarantee their security and that of their families and property.
Pour garantir leur sécurité et celle de leur famille et de leurs biens.
The release of the hostages was made possible through close collaboration between local vigilante committees and security forces. The rescued individuals have since returned to their families safe and sound.
Thanks very much, Ambo Gladys. Since the promulgation of the 2025 finance law, tax experts have been dissecting the grey areas of the law. And recently they met in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala, to grapple with the contours of the new tax law. Details in the following report. The 2025 finance law has sparked critical debate amongst economic and tax professionals. Experts from the Douala Tax Academy, public sector officials and tax practitioners recently convened to examine its implications and address contentious aspects.
Taxation is a very complex domain. The aim of this training session is in fact to empower taxpayers who attend the seminars, in fact to educate them so that they can properly apply the new finance laws. And it's very important for us because as a firm we have some social responsibility. As professionals, it's our own way of assuming the social responsibility, meaning empowering taxpayers, advocating, tax issues and defending taxpayers when they assess over their capacities of payment.
Bertrand Ebune, Chief of Service at the Division of Legislation in the Directorate of Taxes, refuted claims of increased tax pressure, emphasizing that the government is not seeking to stifle taxpayers. Instead, the approach aims to broaden the revenue base, ensuring a more inclusive and efficient tax collection system.
The 2025 finance law does not increase the tax pressure of Cameroonians. Rather, it translates into a series of tax reductions. Several taxes have been dropped. More than 8 taxes have been dropped. Registration duties have been dropped. Taxes of dividends have been dropped. Real estate taxes have been reviewed. So there is no tax to GDP ratio, tax pressure per se. What we're simply trying to do is to broaden the tax base so that everybody pays as per their capacities. You have people who were not paying taxes before. Now we are trying to bring them into the tax net so that everybody should contribute to the fiscal threshold of the state.
Tax officials highlighted that while the law introduces adjustments across 8 sectors, it does not raise tax rates. The focus remains on refining the existing framework to enhance compliance and revenue generation without burdening the taxpayers. The tax administration projects that the reforms in the 2025 finance law will positively impact local government finances by providing them with a more robust and sustainable revenue stream to support development projects and public services. And Cameroon's economy faces tough challenges with growth slowing to 3.2% in 2024 and inflation still very high. And at the 2025 Customs Business Forum, experts have actually emphasized the need for a genuine reform to push the country towards a regional economic leadership by 2025. Ntarike Divine Ramsey Jr. now furnishes the details.
Tackling the major obstacles to transforming Cameroon's economy was at the crux of the 2025 Customs Business Forum held last week in Douala. Experts and policymakers discussed ways to diversify the economy, boost local production, and modernize sectors like energy, agriculture, and digital services. On the discussion table was the government's 2020-2030 National Development Strategy, which aims to reduce import dependence with tax incentives, streamlined processes, and support for key industries. However, Despite these efforts, the economy grew by just 3.2% in 2024, down from 3.7% in 2023, and inflation remains high at 5.1%. Security crises in the northwest and southwest regions, along with global disruptions like the coronavirus pandemic and the war in Ukraine, have strained supply chains and raised costs. Meanwhile, trade deals with Europe have brought imports into the market, but local industries struggle to compete. Experts at the forum emphasized the need for better governance, tackling corruption, and upgrading infrastructure to attract investment and create jobs. While challenges remain, the experts noted, Cameroon is determined to push forward with its goal of becoming a regional economic leader by 2035.
And the road axis connecting the Dakar roundabout and the 8th Police District Station in Cameroon's economic capital has become a very perilous journey for motorcyclists and vendors alike. And with the deteriorating state of the roads, they are prone to accidents. Sherifa Saleh revisits that stretch.
Navigating through Dakar roundabout in Douala has become a nerve-wracking challenge for motorists and pedestrians. Drivers are forced to either slow to a crawl or veer dangerously to the side, creating chaos for numerous heavy trucks that ply this road daily.
Chaque fois, il y a panique ici, là, les conteneurs dansent, parfois ça va tomber.
Vendors lining the road's edge face the constant threat of accidents as vehicles lose control on the unstable terrain. Many speak of their growing fear as trucks swerve dangerously close to their stalls. The stretch leading from Dakar roundabout to the Witiem has not seen significant maintenance in years. The untarred road has deteriorated to the point where vehicles risk damage, creating additional costs for drivers already burdened by the high cost of living. Local road users blame the persistent neglect on the lack of government accountability. For now, the residents and commuters of Douala are left asking, when will this ordeal end?
And in sports, the fate of the best teams in Africa will be known today following a draw for the 2025 African Cup of Nations or 2026 African Cup of Nations holding in Marrakesh, Morocco. The terrific divine now comes back to the chances of the indomitable Lions ahead of the draws.
The 2025 Africa Cup of Nations draw will begin unfolding in under 1 hour in Rabat, Morocco. Teams will find out their opponents for the group stage, with Cameroon placed in pot 2, hoping for a favorable outcome. Aujourd'hui. The 4 draw pots are based on team strength, with Morocco, Senegal, Egypt, Algeria, Nigeria, and Côte d'Ivoire in pot 1, and Cameroon among other strong teams in pot 2. Cameroonian fans and experts are already speculating about potential groupings. An ideal draw for the indomitable Lions could see them face Côte d'Ivoire in pot 1, Equatorial Guinea in pot 3, and Zimbabwe in pot 4, in what experts describe as a competitive yet manageable group. The toughest scenario would involve Morocco, Angola, and Comoros, which would test Cameroon's preparation and form. Cameroon, 5-time African champions, are aiming for another successful campaign. The team will rely on both experienced players and fresh talent to meet fan expectations. With the competition heating up, the pressure is on for Marc Bruce's squad to perform. The draw will be broadcast live globally, and fans from over 90 countries can tune in, including on CAF's YouTube channel and partner broadcasters. The tournament itself will take place from December 21, 2025 to January 18, 2026.
Thanks very much, Divine. And you're wrapping up with this edition of the 615 in me, Kejan Henry Atembe, in which you got information that there is consternation in Bangangte in the west region of the country after a 37-year-old man raped his 13-year-old daughter, claiming it was out for spiritual cleansing. Wish you a wonderful day ahead. Coming up is the brief, the actuality. Goodbye.